We're going to be starting this last day of the seminar. And as is usual, we're going to be starting with a summary of the previous day, yesterday. The summary of the discussion about the compassionate person. First of all, and as we did on Tuesday, here are some sentences that make us think deeply. We don't want to educate students for them simply to fit in our society. We want to educate students that go beyond just collecting funds for the poor. We want to train and educate leaders to change the society, and for that we must move from compassion to solidarity. The compassive and solidary experience must happen within the classroom and in diversity. Our option must be for quality education for all. This is the slavery of the 21st century. We need educators who are committed towards compassion and solidarity, and so managing teams committed along the same way and for the same option. Sentences that still have an echo, sentences coming from yesterday's discussions. Here you have this summarizing slide on experience, reflection and action. What for? To educate the compassionate and solidary person. This then would be the main focus of yesterday's discussion. Experience, it must be direct and meaningful, significant. Identify with anguish of people, find the other, leave the comfort zone. It's a requisite to develop conscience and commitment towards justice. Reflection, awareness within the school context, the insertion of this reflection in the school curriculum. Tension is part of our charisma, and educators are open to living experiences. The idea, of course, is not for the students only to live the experiences, and I as a teacher continuing to teach the way I have always taught, so that reflection can happen deeply. Action, from compassion to justice and solidarity. Passionate teachers. Consistency between suggestions, ideas, structures, and the exemplarity of the educators. We must be consistent schools regarding compassion. Poor education makes poverty become perpetual, and constructive anger and gratitude to transform. This is the summary of the ideas that came out in yesterday's discussion, and we have organized them in this way. So we worked in different groups on these questions, and in that sense, once again, we have to thank the work of the groups. We have to thank the work that the secretaries carried out, and of course, out of the summaries of the secretaries of the groups, we can go for this general summary, which represents what was worked on in the different groups. What improvements can we carry out in order to make headway in educating a compassionate person? First of all, training of teachers, educators and managers, both ongoing education and intersectorial training. Intersectorial is the idea precisely that it shouldn't only happen in the school in an isolated manner, but we have other institutions, apostolic institutions near us with whom we can collaborate in the training of the educators, of the teachers. Second, educators and families made sensitive as a model and as testimony. And this was highlighted in that what is essential then is the selection of teachers. We must select teachers that base their work on empathy and that have this element then incorporated in their action. Then we have to take advantage of our network, the network of World Jesuit Schools for co-creation, that is to create joint experiences, to foster social diversity in the schools, and all this connected to methodological analysis, the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm, and looking for experience-based learning with a balance with the academic side, and to impregnate the curriculum, to make it all the work on the compassionate person goes across the different subject areas. And once again, this idea of intersectoriality in the sense of having other apostolic Jesuit organizations and institutions to help out. And we have many tools. We have Design for Change, we have experiences in the limit, the involvement of the affective dimension, and the dedication of time. This is a summary of the improvements that the groups put forward, and they are thus very representative of the whole set of ideas that were mentioned and talked about yesterday. And finally, on this slide, we have the attempt of relating the 4 C's. We have it very clear. We've been talking about each one of the C's, one per day. Today we're going to be focusing on number 4, but the key element here is interrelationship. If we look for the education of the person, we have to go for 2 ideas that are strong, and these are an integrating framework, and then on the other hand, a systemic organic vision. These 2 expressions were mentioned yesterday repeatedly, and I think they are part and parcel of this attempt towards integrating the 4 C's in a very, very solid manner. Here then is this integrating framework with a systemic whole vision, not partial. So the idea then is to place, as we said, the student in the very center of everything, and we try and make sure that the curriculum is impregnated by the 4 C's and that the curriculum is prioritized and contextualized. And this is to be worked on in the classroom. So, curriculum in the classroom, impregnated, as I said, by the 4 C's. Families and educators are key elements to achieve this integrating framework and this systemic vision, in the sense that a person of conscience, a person who is competent, compassionate, this coincides and feeds in and on a number of elements. And today we're going to go on to the discussion about the committed person.